What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? Noah Gray here, tight end for the Kansas City Chiefs. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Josh's channel and check out showmefootball.com for more.
What is up, Chiefs Kingdom? Welcome back to another video on my channel. My name is Josh Fan of showmefootball.com and arrowheadaddict.com, covering your Kansas City Chiefs. And today I wanted to make a video about the Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver situation, which is currently in question after a season-ending injury occurred with free agent wide receiver acquisition Hollywood Brown. Obviously, Hollywood Brown was the free agent addition that was supposed to raise the floor for the Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver room to provide someone that would be a reliable target for Patrick Mahomes, while second-year wide receiver Rashee Rice is still learning and rookie Xavier Worthy comes along. But now with Hollywood Brown getting surgery on the injured shoulder and it being reported that he's likely to miss the entire 2024 regular season, there's still a small chance he's back for the postseason, but for the most part, he is going to be out for most, if not all, of 2024. And that puts this Chiefs wide receiver room a little bit closer to what it was last year, and you're an injury away with your 165-pound, 170-pound rookie wide receiver from being in the exact same position as last year. And again, Hollywood Brown was supposed to be the veteran floor raiser in this wide receiver room. You no longer have that, and I still think there's a massive need for one, because we are trying to avoid what happened last year with the wide receiver room. And while I still think the Chiefs have enough right now, and they have enough to win games during the regular season, you still don't want to have to depend on a rookie and Xavier Worthy too much, kind of like you did last year with Rashee Rice, where we kind of had to speed up his progression because the Chiefs had no other receivers that were a true threat. And I think that's a situation that you're going to want to try to avoid if you're the Kansas City Chiefs. If you want to make another deep postseason run and complete this quest for a three-peat, I think you have to add another veteran wide receiver. Of course, the problem is there's not really any free agents out there that move the needle. However, there's a few trade candidates across the league that would make a lot of sense for the Kansas City Chiefs to add, and they could get some for a rather inexpensive cost of draft picks. Now, the guy that I have in mind for the Kansas City Chiefs to add, as you can tell by the title of the video and in the thumbnail, Carolina Panthers wide receiver Deontay Johnson would make a ton of sense for the Kansas City Chiefs to trade for. Some of you may remember that Deontay Johnson was just traded to the Carolina Panthers from the Pittsburgh Steelers earlier in the offseason for a late-round pick swap. But even further, if you guys remember, the Kansas City Chiefs were reportedly interested in trading for Deontay Johnson, but the Pittsburgh Steelers opted not to trade within the conference to the Kansas City Chiefs and wanted to avoid helping them out by trading them Deontay Johnson. So the trade never ended up happening, but there was clear interest between Deontay Johnson and the Kansas City Chiefs. A lot of you may be asking, well, what would make him available if he just got traded from the Pittsburgh Steelers to the Carolina Panthers earlier this offseason? Why would the Panthers want to give him up? Well, it was very clear that the Carolina Panthers traded for Deontay Johnson in an attempt to surround Bryce Young, their young quarterback, with the best situation possible, adding talent to the skill positions, adding talent around him on the roster. But with the Carolina Panthers now already 0-2 this season and getting embarrassed in both of their losses and benching their young quarterback Bryce Young, it has become clear very quickly that the Carolina Panthers are not going to be competitive this year, which means they might be a little more willing to part ways with their newly acquired receiver, Deontay Johnson. The other motive for the Panthers to trade Deontay Johnson would be the fact that he becomes an unrestricted free agent after this year, and with the Panthers not having a clear direction right now, it would make a lot of sense for them to get some sort of asset back for Deontay Johnson as they prepare for his departure anyway. With that Hollywood Brown injury and the Chiefs being in need of a veteran wide receiver, and the fact that they had predated interest in Deontay Johnson, and it would make a lot of sense for them to circle back around and see what the Carolina Panthers might want for the productive wide receiver. Since being drafted in 2019, Deontay Johnson has almost 400 catches for 4,397 yards and 25 touchdowns. While Deontay Johnson isn't an all-pro receiver or someone that you would consider a perennial 1,000-yard receiver, he's been very productive so far throughout his career and is an easy bet to get you at least 700 to 800 yards receiving every single year. When the Kansas City Chiefs acquired Hollywood Brown, that's pretty much what they thought they were getting in him, is someone that could give you 700 to 800 yards receiving and bring the deep ball back to this offense. And while Deontay Johnson isn't necessarily a burner that's going to bring the deep ball back to the offense, he's very productive. He's a veteran that has experience in this league, has a track record of proven production, and that's really what you're looking for the Kansas City Chiefs. The fact of the matter is, if Deontay Johnson was an all-pro, he probably wouldn't be available for trade. Some may be scared off by the fact that this would be the second time Deontay Johnson is traded before a full season went by, but I think that's just more of a testament to the situation that he's in now with Carolina, and Carolina looking around and saying, well, we're not going anywhere this year. We're clearly not going to reach our goals. We're not going to be competitive. It's very unlikely this guy is going to re-sign with us this offseason. So why not recoup some assets and send him somewhere where he can be more successful? And that makes him a very attainable trade target for the Kansas City Chiefs, unlike other wide receivers that people have mentioned, like Amari Cooper of the Cleveland Browns. That one would be a little more tough to pull off because he's in the AFC, and it's very clear that these AFC teams don't really want to help out the Kansas City Chiefs. But the Panthers have no reason not to deal with the Kansas City Chiefs because they are in the NFC, and they have no chance of winning in the NFC. Johnson likely wouldn't cost very much at all, given that he's going to be an unrestricted free agent this offseason. So there's a good chance that it would be a rental. The Kansas City Chiefs could easily get him for a day 3 draft pick. And then if he does really well here, you could potentially re-sign him in the offseason and have him be a stalwart wide receiver in this wide receiver room for the foreseeable future. And then when it comes to Hollywood Brown, Deontay Johnson gives you Hollywood Brown insurance in case he's not able to return this year. And then maybe you could circle back around to Hollywood Brown next year, since he was only on a 1-year deal, and see if maybe he'd like to come back on another very cheap 1-year deal. Because with Hollywood Brown not really being able to boost his stock at all this offseason after being injured this year for the Kansas City Chiefs, he's going to be in the same exact position next year that he was this year, looking for that 1-year deal. So why not take some of his unlikely to be earned incentives from this year that were in his contract, turn that into guaranteed money next year on a 1-year deal, and give him the chance to come back, play in this offense that we were all excited to see him play in, and he can boost his stock playing with Patrick Mahomes, go for a Super Bowl, and then cash in later on. I mean, you definitely love to bring Hollywood Brown back as your wide receiver 2, 3, maybe even 4, depending on how Rice and Worthy develop. That would give you a damn good wide receiver room if you were able to get Deontay Johnson and potentially have a Hollywood Brown back at some point and have both of those guys. That would be the best case scenario. But to give yourself some Hollywood Brown insurance, the Kansas City Chiefs should absolutely be calling the Carolina Panthers to see if they would be willing to give up Deontay Johnson and what for. So yeah, guys, the logic behind inquiring about Deontay Johnson of the Carolina Panthers is quite simple. You're likely down Hollywood Brown for the rest of the season, and he was supposed to provide a high floor for the wide receiver room, and you no longer have that, which means the floor becomes a lot lower, and this offense could potentially struggle more than we thought it would because you have a rookie, Rashee Rice, and then a bunch of guys, and we've already seen kind of the strain this is putting on Travis Kelce as people are talking about how he hasn't really produced early in this season, and I don't think it's very smart for the Kansas City Chiefs to put a bunch of the offensive load on Travis Kelce yet again this year as he ages. You want to keep him fresh for the postseason, and the best way to do that is to give Patrick Mahomes as many reliable pass catchers as possible. But what do you guys think of the possibility of the Kansas City Chiefs acquiring wide receiver Deontay Johnson through a trade? I would love to hear from you guys what you think of this idea. If you agree, disagree, let me know down below. With all that being said, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so more Chiefs fans can find this, and I will see you all in the next one. Go Chiefs!